Okay, what's your name?
My name is Phil.
And where are you from?
Oshawa, Ontario.
Okay, and you were sick some time ago. How long ago was that?
That was 13 years ago.
Okay, 13 years ago, and what did you have?
I had recovered from ARDS,
Okay.
Acute Respiratory Distress Syndrome, among other things, but...
Okay, and how did you get the ARDS?
From seared lungs.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Seared lungs from heat inhalation.
And how did you get the heat inhalation?
I was involved in a fire, so I was recovering from burns as well as from ARDS.
And how long did you end up in the hospital for?
6 weeks and 2 days.
And what do you think is the after you were in the hospital and you got out, what was the most significant or life-changing thing about that experience for you? How old are you, first of all?
Well, right now I'm 58 going on 59, so at that time I was 45 going on 46.
Okay, so you were a young man.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so what do you think after you left the hospital and spending all that time in the hospital, what was the most significant thing for you?
One of the most pressing things on my mind was how vulnerable I was. For the first time in my life, I felt like I could not defend myself, that I was vulnerable to... my biggest fear was being mugged, not being able to run away from a mugger, or being able to defend against an attack.
So when you were out in public, you felt like you were extremely
vulnerable
and at the whim of other people.
Yes.
And is that because you lost so much strength from their hospitalization and from both of these, the ARDS and the burns?
It had to do with that and shock, because ARDS, which is Acute Respiratory Distress Syndrome, and also burns, is one of the most major traumas on the body. Not only affects you physically, but also emotionally and mentally. And because of that, being in shock, for people to pass me by from behind would startle me, and I go, so this is what it's like for people who are senior citizens, where they are visibly startled when somebody approaches from behind and catches them completely by surprise. They feel so vulnerable, so weak, so defenseless. And this is what I was experiencing. I go, man. And I have nobody to share this with, because senior citizens, if I try to talk to them about it, they're going to go, what are you talking about?
You're 45 years old, right?
So I felt all alone. There was no support groups back then. Computers were relatively new with coming out with anything having to do with support.
How did you overcome that feeling?
Well...
Or do you still feel that to some extent today?
No, I don't. It took 3 years before I would begin to feel like I could defend myself, that I was strong enough that I couldn't run. And it took 3 years. The third year I could actually run. And so I felt like I was strong enough. The shock was wearing off for the most part. So I was feeling more and more normal. But the most pivotal point in my life was when I felt I've got to get out. I can't hide away from the general public. I've got to get out where people are. I've got to shop. I've got to feel normal. I've got to act normal, do normal things such as shopping, browsing, driving around, going to social events. And it was while I was at a store that doesn't exist in Canada anymore, Kmart. And I was standing in line, waiting to purchase my whatever I bought, and I wanted to try to smile for the cashier, and I couldn't even muster a smile. I was so paranoid. And I get up to the counter, and she looks up and she looks me right in the eyes with a big smile on her face and says, "Hi, how are you? Did you find everything that you were looking for?" and that kind of thing. And all of a sudden something snapped inside of me where I went, if she can accept me for who I am without staring at my pressure garments from burns and doesn't stare at visible scars and that, can look me in the face and smile at me and treat me like I'm normal. She sees me as being normal. I can see myself as being normal, and from that point on, it didn't faze me if some people stared at
and that was a turning point in your recovery process?
It was a major turning point emotionally as well as mentally for just one person to smile and treat me normal.
Okay, thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.